Will the Housing Land Use Committee meeting of May 14th, 2025, please come to order. It is 9:06 a.m. and I am Nohelani U'u Hajins, your Vice Chair of the Housing and Land Use Committee. I will be the chair for this committee today in place of Member Kama this morning. This is a meeting that is being conducted in accordance with the Sunshine Law. Thank you. So members, when your name is called, if you are not with us in the council chamber, please identify by name who, if anyone, is in your workspace with you today. Minors do not need to be identified. We will begin with Council Chair Alice Lee because Committee Chair Tasha Kama is excused. So good morning, Chair Lee.
Good morning, and Ali from Palau.
Oh. One second. Okay, good morning, Ali, Chair. Oh, you're muted now.
Okay, I'm home alone in my workspace. Good morning, thanks.
Good morning. Thank you. Council Vice Chair Yukile Sugimura, good morning, and Ali.
Good morning, and Ali.
Councilmember Tamara Paulton, good morning, Ali.
Aloha kakahiaka and Ali kako.
Councilmember Gabe Johnson is excused. Councilmember Kiani Rollins, is she with us? If not, oh. Good morning, Member Rollins Fernandez. Ali.
Aloha kakahiaka, Chair. Oh, sorry. Aloha kakahiaka, my Molokai nui ahina. I am at our Molokai District Office, alone on my side of the office. And there are currently no testifiers here at the office, and I will get my video on in just a moment. Mahalo, Chair.
Thank you very much. Member Tom Cook will be joining us shortly, and Councilmember Shane Sinensi. Good morning.
Aloha kakayaka, Chair, and Ali. Happy to be here. No testifiers in Hana, Chair.
Thank you very much. We have with us from the Department of Corporation Counsel, Deputy Corporation Counsel Nahulu Nunukawa. We have with us as well Director Remy Mitchell of the Housing Department. Our committee staff include James Kruger, Senior Legislative Analyst, Ellen McKinney, Legislative Analyst, Jennifer Yamashita, Committee Secretary, Carla Nakata, Legislative Attorney, and Leigh Deneen, Assistant Clerk. So thank you, members, for being in attendance for today's HLU Committee meeting. We have one single item on the agenda today. Members, we will continue our discussion regarding this residential workforce housing units. As a reminder, we began deliberating on this topic earlier this year with 3 different bills relating to workforce housing deed restrictions. After several meetings with a number of resources, as a committee, we decided upon a list of matters relating to residential workforce housing units, and we wanted to discuss in addition to deed restrictions. To allow us to deliberate on these issues, Chair Kama introduced Bill 40. We met once on Bill 40 before budget session and already discussed some proposed changes. Those changes have been incorporated into the proposed CD1 version of Bill 40 posted on today's agenda. But before we do all of that, let's begin with public testimony on this item, Bill 40 CD1 2025. So in accordance with the Sunshine Law, I will be calling for testimony for our single agenda item at this time for Microsoft Teams participants logged in via web. Sorry, the notes are completely different, so I'm, fumbling this a bit. Let me start from scratch. For Microsoft Teams participants logged in via web or the Teams app, please indicate that you would like to testify by clicking on the raise your hand icon on the top right of your window. Staff will then add your name to the testifier list. If you are joined by telephone, *5 to raise your virtual hand, and staff will put your name on the testifiers list and then lower your hand. Please keep your audio and video muted until you are called to testify. Written testimony is encouraged and can be submitted via the e-comment link at mauicounty.us/agendas. Oral testimony is limited to 3 minutes. When you reach the 3-minute mark, you will hear an audible notice. If you are still testifying when the notice sounds, please complete your testimony within 30 seconds. For those on Microsoft Teams, please ensure your name appears in Teams as the name you prefer to be referred to, or as anonymous if you wish to testify anonymously. If you are in person, please notify staff that you would like to testify anonymously. Otherwise, please state your name for the record at the beginning of your testimony. Decorum will be maintained throughout the meeting. Violation of decorum may result in being removed from the chamber or the online meeting. You can also view the meeting on Akaku Channel 53, Facebook Live, mauicounty.us/agendas. Thank you all for your cooperation. At this time, we will call on testifiers wishing to testify on Bill 40. So staff, if you could please call our first testifier.
Chair, the first testifier is Jackie Keefe, to be followed by Jordan Hawker.
Ms. Jackie Keefe.
Aloha, mahalo. Sorry, they take a second to approve us to turn our mic and camera on.
Sounds good, thank you.
But mahalo, mahalo council for allowing me to testify on this today. My name is Jackie Keefe, and I am testifying in strong opposition of this bill. Bill 40 is a dangerous bill in a time of a severe housing shortage that we have on Maui. We have no need for lowering the restriction to 3 years for folks to be prioritized on a list. This does nothing for our kupuna and Maui-born families who are just trying to stay in the islands. I am somewhat horrified that this has come up in a time where the community has seen not few, but not as many of the things that we would like to see come up as a topic, rather things that the people who pay to get their agenda moving forward are prioritizing. So I am sorry that I don't have a more coherent message like I usually do, but I just think it's really important to say that I'm in strong opposition of this bill and that there is no need for us to move forward with this bill today. Mahalo.
Thank you. Member Paulton, you have a clarifying question.
Yeah, I just wanted to clarify the subsection that you were talking about, section 6. Were you aware that we were just distributed an amendment summary form removing that portion this morning that would revert it back to ranking in the lottery based on length of residency? It's just been posted to Granicus as
Awesome. I was
item
not
number
thank
12.
you for that.
And so you would, just to clarify, you would support the amendment summary form distributed this morning that takes away that 3-year residency and reverts back to the, language in Bill 111.
Absolutely. Mahalo for that clarifying question, council member.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Member Paulton. Thank you very much for your testimony, members. Any other clarifying questions? Seeing none. Next testifier, please.
Chair, the next testifier is Jordan Hawker, to be followed by Kai Nishiki.
Aloha mai kako. My name is Jordan Hawker. I'm here to testify today on Bill 40. Sorry, this is very much so my face. Okay. So I want to thank for the amendment in Section 6 regarding the length of time that people have to be here in Maui County. I know that some members present weren't council members for the fight for Bill 111, but I followed it every single step of the way. And I'm one of those people that wouldn't necessarily benefit in an affordable housing lottery for the length of time that I've lived here because I'm not from here. But it seems that like a fundamental practice that we would prioritize people who are born and raised here that are below a certain income bracket and thus cannot afford housing, because those are the people who are being priced off of our island. And so I want to say thank you to Chair Kama for this amendment. As a member of the public who tries my absolute best to remain informed, last minute communications for the public having to do this whiplash, you folks are used to it. We are not. It makes it hard for us to keep up. And so I find myself in many of the hats that I wear, asking the county for better and more timely communications with the public. And so that's what I'm going to do in this case. Please, if you're going to amend a bill and you know you're going to do it, maybe do it like with a little bit more lead-in time. But really, when it comes to Bill 40, I've read through a majority of it and did not have a problem with anything other than Section 6. So I am in support of Bill 40 as it stands with the current amendment. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Hawker. Members, any clarifying questions? Seeing none. Thank you for your testimony. Next testifier, please.
Chair, the next testifier is Kai Nishiki, to be followed by George Burnett.
Oh,
Kalamai.
I can hear you now.
Okay. I had to figure out unmuting myself. Kai Nishiki, testifying on behalf of Maui Nui Resiliency Hui, Aloha Chair and committee members. Mahalo for your many meetings, public discussions, and countless hours you've devoted to strengthening Maui's residential workforce housing policy. Your work reflects the urgency of a growing crisis, the displacement of our people from their ancestral home. We support several provisions in Bill 40, which takes important steps to protect affordable housing for the long-term benefit of our community. These are great steps forward, and we know we can do even better. Bill 11 must be incorporated to prioritize longtime residents. We cannot talk about protecting Kama'aina housing without acknowledging Bill 111, passed in 2021, which created a weighted lottery system prioritizing longtime Maui residents. This policy was a breakthrough modeled after anti-displacement measures used in cities like Washington, D.C., and provided a legal and equitable way to ensure that generational families and those who have called Maui home the longest aren't pushed to the back of the line. Bill 40, as currently written, erases these hard-won protections. Instead of upholding the weighted system, it tosses longtime Maui County families into a disenfranchising pool with others after only 3 years of residency. That means our kupuna, who have lived here their entire lives, now compete equally with someone who moved here just 3 years ago. That means our keiki, born and raised here, face the same odds as the buyer from the continent who landed here in 2021. This is not housing justice. This is a betrayal. We've all waited patiently for Bill 111 to be enacted while the Department of Housing and Human Concerns bifurcation was carried out, and now before its development, it is proposed for removal. This is a huge disservice to our community. It deserves a chance to thrive like we do. Lahaina Community Land Trust is already implementing a similar system. It's possible, it's legal, and it's urgent. We respectfully urge and ask this committee to incorporate language to uphold the main intent of Bill 111 into Bill 140. If deadlines are the issues, set new ones. If administrative capacity is lacking, build it. But do not erase the most community-supported policy we've seen in years without even giving it a chance. This is a moment of truth for Maui County. Will we prioritize our own people, or will we open the door wider to speculative development and quiet displacement? Every year, more families are priced out, pushed out, bought out. Bill 40 is a chance to take a stand, but it only protects not just housing units, but the people who these homes are meant for. We have provided proposed amendments in writing, and these are the highlights. Incorporate Bill 111 that prioritizes long-term residents. We fully support the Department of Housing managing the wait list once they are fully operational, and in the meantime, have the housing providers do so. I have spoken to a few housing providers, and they are fully willing and ready to do exactly that. Clarify the AMI categories, so that you don't have to be an analyst when you're reading it. Provide equity in the housing credits. Require that any housing credit issued be used in the same income group for which it was received. This was a recommendation by a prior deputy director. Phase out. Love that you guys are talking about phasing out housing credits entirely. We support this long overdue reform. Support longer deed restrictions. We support increasing deed restriction periods. Love the 99-year restriction for ownership units on county-owned properties. Foreclosure safeguards, please consider adding a right to purchase for the county or a qualified nonprofit. Love owner occupancy in perpetuity and long-term rent control. I think maybe you guys might just want to look at the exemptions and what can be done. You know, like, are we then supporting short-term rentals or empty homes? I just maybe a little question.
Thank
and
you,
then maybe
Ms.
just
Nishiki.
ask if,
Out of curiosity, oh, there we go. Could you hear the bell earlier? I just need to make sure that we can hear the bell on
I'm
your
so
end.
sorry.
No, that's okay. For future,
I
for everybody else
just
coming,
heard
I
it
just need
just
to
now.
make sure the bell is heard. You can finish up your last thought, and then I'll ask the members if they have any clarifying questions.
Okay, Kalamai,
No,
the
don't worry
bell,
about it.
I just heard it. I did not hear it before. I was waiting. I was like, oh, where is it?
No, that's okay. I just,
okay.
sometimes people can hear it and sometimes people cannot. So I just wanted to make sure people can hear it. So please,
Okay.
you can finish up your last
I'm-
sentence, and then I'll ask the members if they have any clarifying questions.
Okay, so I did submit my testimony in writing, but my final thought is housing is not a commodity. It is the foundation of our future. And if we're serious about resilience and justice and keeping local lands in local hands, we must center our policies around the people who built this community. Mahalo for your time and leadership. Mahalo nui.
Thank you very much. Members, any clarifying questions? Member Rollins-Fernandez.
Mahalo, Chair. I could hear the timer the second time, just to let you know. Aloha, Ms. Nishiki. Mahalo for your testimony and for going through this omnibus of a bill. I know there's a lot of pieces, and you really did a good job at hitting the many pieces of this bill in 3 minutes. So my clarifying question is regarding the part where B2D, where it manages the lottery. And you mentioned that Lahaina Community Land Trust is working on the same management program or managing a similar program. Do you know how they're doing that?
I'm not the expert, and would love to have a representative from Lahaina Community Land Trust perhaps be a expert for you folks. But how I understand it is there is a software program, and it makes it really easy. You know, like there's a portal, and folks sign up via the portal. And then the department can then manage the information, and it can also be utilized by the housing provider before the housing department takes over the management of it. So, you know, you would just have everyone's information in there, and then if there are 50 homes available in a project, then you just put in what AMIs you want to pull out, and the program actually does the lottery for you. Very transparent, and so yes, it is not a complicated thing. And like I said, I have spoken with at least 3 housing providers, and they are they're fully even willing to do this. Without the regulation. They just have figured out a way to do it and want to support that.
Incredible. I love when technology keeps up with satisfying or meeting our community's needs. I don't know if that software existed when we first passed Bill 111. So this is amazing news to hear. Mahalo, Ms. Nishiki. Mahalo.
It is, truly.
Thank you. Member Paulton.
Thank you for your testimony, Ms. Nishiki. I wanted to clarify Section 3, 2.96.050. Was it that you support the credits being used in the community plan area that they're generated in? Was that what you were saying? Like, if they build the affordable housing in Wailuku or Kahului, then they can build their luxury homes in Kapalua, or was that the one you said?
Oh, so for the credits, yes, I absolutely support wherever the credits were issued, that the affordable components should be built within the community plan area. I think that is currently in the bill under B, but what amendment we proposed was that the credit may only satisfy the requirement for the unit within the same income group that it was, for which it was received. And that was a discussion that was had with a former Department of Housing and Human Concerns deputy director, in that if a housing provider gets a credit for one of the higher income brackets, then they shouldn't be able to utilize it for a lower income bracket or vice versa.
Okay. And then to clarify, in B, it doesn't say that they must be used in the same community plan area. It says credits may be used in any community plan area. So to clarify, you are or not supportive of that?
Oh, I'm so sorry. Yes, that should be amended to must be used in the community plan area that it was received or issued from. LMI.
Okay, thank you for that clarification.
Thank you, Member Paulton. Does anybody else have any clarifying questions? Seeing none, thank you very much, Ms. Nishiki, for your testimony. Before we call on the next testifier, I'd like to welcome Member Cook.
Aloha, Chair. Good morning.
Good
And there's no testifiers in the KA Regional Office, and I'm glad to be here. Thank you.
Thank you for being with us. Next testifier, please.
Chair, the next testifier is George Burnett, to be followed by Stacy Moniz.
Morning, Chair and council members. I've never been in here when it's empty, so a little less intimidating. I'm here testifying as an individual, and I thought I was opposed to Bill 40, but now I understand it's changed, so now I'm in favor of it. My opposition was the 3-year stipulation, making everybody have an equal chance after 3 years residency. That's been removed? So, okay. Off topic just for 1 second. I just came from Kaahumanu Church, and I have here the contract from the construction manager, and I met them, and the contractors, and work is supposed to start Monday. And that money is coming from a grant that the county gave us some sessions ago that we weren't able to use, but we're able to use it now. So we're over the moon over there at Kaahumanu Church, and we're so thankful and very, very excited. So it's just a start. There's a lot to do, but anyway. Should I summarize my testimony?
Yes, please, on the Bill 40.
Okay. Well, I'm now in favor of it.
Okay.
I was going to talk about 2019. I married into this rather large Filipino family, and most of them live in Hawaii, Oahu, but there's one family that lives here. They've been here about 40 years, and they raised 3 children that have all gone to college, and their children would like to come back here and live, but who can do that, right? And so under that Bill 111, they were going to get priority because they'd been residents here for so long. And if that wasn't going to happen, what were their chances of coming back here? So that was the gist of my testimony in favor of my family members who have children that would like to come back here. And then the other thing I was going to say, and that kind of pales in comparison to, I'm just trying to imagine that I'm somebody that's lived here my whole life and is faced with having to move because I can't afford it. And then suddenly I'm told, well, I have the same priorities as somebody who's only lived here 3 years. That just seems so wrong. And that's why I came here to testify. I think I try to put myself in your guys' position as elected officials, and the thing is taking care of our people, right? And taking care of our land. And that's what I think we should be doing. So thank you very much.
Thank you very much,
Yep.
Mr. Burnett. Members, do we have any clarifying questions? Seeing none, thank you so much. Next testifier, please.
Chair, the next testifier is Stacy Moniz to be followed by Ann P.
Well, aloha, everyone. Good morning. My name is Stacey Moniz. I want to thank everybody. I know this is a rough time to be a leader in our community and to take on the housing issue. I really appreciate you all. I thought I was testifying in opposition to Bill 40, but listening now, I have been trying to read through the Bill 40, but I was a part of the team who worked really hard to create Bill 111, which this Maui County Council voted unanimously to approve. I want to remember, like Kai Nishiki was saying, this was one of the most, everybody loved it because it really does try to put local families first. And it takes into account all the needs of all of our people, whether they are houseless, renting, or wanting to purchase a home. Housing in Maui County was difficult before COVID and before the fires, but it's really out of control now. And we'll need many, many ways to work on this, most of which are included in Bill 111. In addition, I don't often agree with this mayor, but when he says that the Minatoya list is one tool that we can use to help address the serious housing crisis, I totally agree. I would add Bill 111 to that toolkit because we're going to require many, many, many solutions because everybody's situation is so different. I'm one of those people. I've been here for 4 generations. I'm not Kanaka, but as a single mom, I always knew that home ownership wasn't available to me. I did send my children to college instead, but recently my daughter, who I get to live with and with my grandkids, that's how we make it work here in the rental market. She said to me she wished somebody had told her how important it was to buy her own house, that she would have made that a priority. And I know her, she's a go-getter. She would have made it happen. I told her, you know what, your parents failed you. And I did, we failed her. I wish somebody had told her that too. I did not. We all have really good jobs, and yet just because the bank will lend you $1 million doesn't mean you should borrow $1 million. I really want her to be careful about that. My family is definitely a statistic. My other child lives in New Mexico. He moved away, and within a year, within 7 months, he was able to purchase his own home with his wife. And Bill 111 was well thought out to help families like mine and so many others. I was listening to the council last week, I think it was maybe 2 weeks ago, I can't even remember. But when Molokai was talking, the county was talking about having deed restrictions, and if you have a house that was purchased under an affordability requirement, that you want to, I really want to encourage us to have a deed restriction if you try to sell the house before your affordability expires. I think the pilot project on Molokai was a wonderful example, again, of options. I just want to remind you all that a lot of great suggestions are already included in Bill 111. So thank you again. I appreciate your time.
Thank you, Ms. Moniz. Members, any clarifying questions? Member Paulton.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you, Ms. Moniz, for your testimony. On that last part that you were speaking to, I just wanted to clarify. I think 2.96.060B4C talks about the deed restriction continuing on to end, but you're saying if it's sold before the affordability ends to a new person, we should restart that deed restriction period because it's a new owner that was within the original affordability period.
Yes, exactly. Thank you. You speak a much that language much better than I do. But yeah, there's, when you buy a house, when it's affordable, you shouldn't really be able to benefit from that, just because Maui's such a great place to live and everybody wants to be here and people will just pay more. Thank you for
the
clarifying
benefit
that
is
too.
the stable housing and no landlord kicking you out or raising your rent and things like that.
Exactly.
Rather than just flipping it and walking away with $1 million.
Exactly. I totally agree.
Thank you.
No, thank you.
Thank you, guys. Members, any other clarifying questions? Seeing none, thank you so much for your testimony. Staff, next testifier, please.
Chair, the next testifier is Ann P., to be followed by Stacy Alapai.
And P, we've unmuted you on our end. You'll need to unmute on your end.
Can you hear me now?
We can hear you. Thank you. You're welcome to continue.
Okay, thank you very much. Sorry about that delay. I strongly oppose Bill 40, the section on selection criteria. I don't know if that's section 6. Housing on Maui should prioritize longtime residents, Kama'aina and Kapuna, who have a significant connection to the island's history, culture, and economy. They've often been the ones to build and maintain community, and prioritizing them in housing allocations is essential to preserve the island's character and cultural identity. Longtime residents are often the most vulnerable in the housing market, with some facing significant challenges in finding affordable housing, especially in the housing emergency that we're having right now, which the COVID and the fires contributed to. So longtime residents should be prioritized in housing projects. It can help to ensure that these projects align with the community's needs and values. This 3-year resident selection criteria is not Pono. Kapuna who've lived on Maui their entire lives would get weighted in the lottery over someone who's just moved here or been here 3 years. Bill 111, bring back Bill 111. It was modeled after anti-displacement policies in Washington, D.C., and was lauded as a creative way to prioritize residents while still being in compliance with fair housing laws. And I think Kai Nishiki described the software program that can address that and simplify that. We can do that. We have a new Department of Housing that can do that. So please prioritize that and bring back Bill 111, which was, I think, the proposal of authored by Gabe Johnson, who was the chair of the Affordable Housing Committee at that time. So I want to also share with you something about that I received in October from Tasha Kama. It says, honoring and respecting our Kapuna is at Tasha Kama's core. This bill, the selection criteria, is not Pono. We need to bring back Bill 111. Thank you.
Thank you. Members, any clarifying questions? Seeing none, thank you very much. Next testifier, please.
Thank you.
Chair, the next testifier is Stacy Alapai, to be followed by Lisa Darcy.
Okay. Ms. Alapai?
Aloha council members, I appreciate this long discussion that you all have had about deed restrictions and extending them as long as possible. I don't think 12 years is enough. I think that we need to extend that as long as possible. And I appreciate the change recommended by another testifier to restart that time period anytime that the affordable home is sold. It should restart, because I think that the whole purpose of this process of having a list and reducing the cost of housing for people is to provide stable housing so that you can get your feet off the ground and build income so that you can, maybe if you want to sell and move to a new house, that foundation will allow you to be able to afford that new house at market rate. Ideally, you shouldn't be able to then like literally win the lottery and make millions of dollars at the expense of stealing that opportunity of building that foundation from someone else. So I think it should restart every time that property changes hands. I also was mostly here to oppose this bill because it would be replacing Bill 111, but I heard earlier today that there was an amendment added this morning. So I was trying to read through that, and I have a lot of objections just to the process of this. It really like caused a lot of panic in our community over the last 2 days reading this bill. And then I clicked on it. It's really hard to find this new amendment, and it says hold for meeting. So was this written in advance and then held intentionally to like cause this panic and bring people here to testify just to say, oh no, never mind? Or was this an attempt to bait and switch out Bill 111 and then people noticed it? So then you're like, never mind, we're gonna put it back in. It's just really hard as someone who watches this council regularly for me to even find these documents and understand what's happening. And if you truly want people to be engaged in the process in a mindful and educated manner, you should be helping us understand what is the goal of this bill, what are the things that we need to know so we can give our educated opinion about it. But it really kind of wastes people's time if we sound the alarm like this just for you guys to put that back on the shelf once like we're aware of it. It makes it hard for us to trust the leadership if we're like having to second guess every single bill that comes up. And the other piece of this that I'm not sure is in the amendment or not that really was concerning to me was that Bill 111 was going to hand control of that lottery list to the county or the housing department and take that control away from developers. I haven't had a chance to read the whole amendment, but I really would hope that that control of this list and the maintenance of the list remains in the county and not in the hands of the developers because it can be manipulated. Mahalo.
Thank you very much, Ms. Alapai. Members, any clarifying questions? Member Sinensi.
Mahalo, Chair. Mahalo, Ms. Alapai, for your testimony this morning. Chair, yeah, I would just want to ask, I know I too received the amendment this morning, and so maybe if staff could speak to, I mean, is it because of sunshine law that we couldn't see, or testifiers couldn't see it ahead of time?
Yeah, we all just received it right when I was saying good morning to everyone. But sure, maybe staff can answer that question regarding sunshine law and our posting requirements.
Chair, yes, just real briefly, yes, the amendment was developed and, right, just as a way to distribute it, it was held until the meeting. That's all. Thank you, Chair. Maybe we can discuss further after testimony if needed.
Yeah, we can get into it after testimony, but
Okay.
sure.
All
Thank
right.
you, Member Sinensi.
Thank you.
Did you have a clarifying question for Ms. Alapai?
No, I just wanted to ask her, Ms. Alapai's question. Thank you.
Oh, of course, thank you. Member Paulton.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you, Ms. Alapai, for your testimony. I really appreciate it, and I'm pretty sure I agree with most everything. I just wanted to clarify the main points that I heard, and if I left anything out, if you could let me know. You're supportive of longer deed restrictions, and that if a deed restricted house sells within its affordability period of restarting the deed restriction to the new buyer. Did I miss anything else? Or I mean, I know there was the last minute changes, but I also did see the chatter, and so I guess I'd like to think it's being responsive to the outrage that came out of seeing it, but I don't know. It wasn't me.
The only other thing you missed in that was who controls that lottery list, because there is also a practice of the developers manipulating that list and who's on it.
And your preference is for the county to be in control of the lottery?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you, Member Paulton. Members, any other clarifying questions? Seeing none, thank you very much for your testimony, Ms. Alapai. Next testifier, please.
Chair, the next testifier is Lisa Darcy, to be followed by DeAndre Makakoa.
Morning, Chair. Good morning, Council. My name is Lisa Darcy, and I am here to testify.
Ms. Darcy, we're having a difficult time hearing you. Is there any way you could either speak louder or get closer to your microphone? We would like to hear what you have to say.
How is that? Is that any better?
Skosh, but not better.
Yeah, I have a really old computer, and I think my microphone is
Maybe
not
we can
great.
turn it up on
However,
our
if
end for a little bit, and then we can just remember to turn it down so I don't have an ear blast of sound.
Get blasted. Wonderful. Thank you so much for meeting today. And I am a board member on the Hawaii Public Housing Authority, and I am here today testifying as an individual in Maui County. Most of you are familiar with the work that I do of people who are living unhoused. And this bill is incredibly important in the larger picture. I want to thank all the testifiers before. I also was very confused by the process this morning. And so I may not be up to speed, but the testimony that I want to provide this morning is that local families have got to have priority. This community, there's just too many people falling into living unhoused or on the verge of it. We cannot, the shoe is full, and we cannot, nobody else can fall into this, and people need to have stability. Every time people get swept, they have to start all over again. We need people to be able to stay in housing and to be safe and secure, emotionally secure. I support everything and anything that will keep the equity of people's ability to maintain their housing, their jobs, their schools, everything that Maui County can possibly do that is super important. And I want to thank everybody who put work into this. Like I said, I'm not up to speed on everything on this. I'm really happy to hear that this is moving forward now in a way that will, it sounds like, be much more supportive for much longer term safety in housing. It's incredibly important. And I just want to thank everyone for their time for putting that in today, and all the testifiers. I was listening. I'm so appreciative of all the work this community has done to support this. So mahalo.
Thank you, Ms. Darcy. Members, any clarifying questions? Seeing none, thank you very much for your testimony. Next testifier, please.
Chair, the next testifier is DeAndre Makakoa, to be followed by the Royal House of Hawaii.
Aloha Council. Thank you for allowing us to testify. I didn't get a chance to read any amendments, so I'm actually a little confused now, but I'll just keep my testimony short. I'm definitely in support of protecting longtime residents and not in favor of getting rid of those protections and allowing newcomers to come here and buy up all the housing. We're just trying to survive in this place. A lot of us have been here, our families have been here for 3, 4, 5, 10, 15 plus generations, but we're struggling just to stay in this place that we call home, because the system was never designed for us. We're working 2+ jobs, living in overcrowded homes, grandma, grandpa, mom, dad, cousin, uncle, all in the same home, just trying to survive. And you can't replace that connection that we have with a few years of living here. And it's not protecting Kama'aina and protecting long-term residents isn't extreme at all. What is extreme is standing by and allowing this mass exodus of Hawaiians to continue to happen. So I think, yeah, please prioritize those protections. Apologies for my lack of clarity coming into this.
Mahalo,
Mahalo.
Mr. Makakwa. Does anybody have any clarifying questions? Seeing none, thank you so much for your testimony. Next testifier, please.
Chair, the next testifier is the Royal House of Hawaii, and that is the last individual signed up.
Aloha. Hi, I'm here to testify on the housing. I suggest like the solution should be, and which we're all supposed to be actually doing already by law, is to call up all the descendants of all the lands of Hawaii, because all the lands in Hawaii are allodial titled, royal patented, already claimed, and the claims have already been made from the Mahele and still valid and still in use from Kamehameha III, Papa's laws, yeah. And everybody gotta go follow Papa's laws, and and to call up all the descendants again and round them all up, because yeah. And with housing and safety, all of that, housing, Hawaiians, I'm pretty sure, is the most highest rate of that. So why are they living on the street when they get allodial land and royal patents already? Is it obvious that it's erased information from everyone? I don't know, it's a little weird, but yeah, maybe we should round everybody up, and that would help homelessness, because Kanakas is the highest rate in that. And yeah, please help the Hawaiian people from the Royal House of Hawaii. Mahalo, and please follow Papa Kamehameha III's laws. God bless you guys. Thank you. Ahuyo.
Hui ho. Mahalo for your testimony. Do we have any clarifying questions? Seeing none. Next testifier, do we have anybody else signed up? If not, we can go to the in-person testifier.
Yeah, Chair, no one else is signed up.
Okay.
Aloha. Kakahiaka. Okay. Everybody's trying to get organized this morning. For the record, Jasi Lau from Kuluuka, Waiakoa, Ahupua'a. I appreciate the last testifier. You keep trying, buddy. You're getting through to us. And so, I did get the amendment summary form to use you guys' technical language here. I appreciate, okay, I know I got 3 minutes, so bear with me. I'm trying to let the people know that are out there watching outside of the building here, outside of the chamber. And also to the rule says, I haven't read the rules. I can't even get to the rules because of all the locked doors around here. And I realize this is about, the agenda is about Bill 40, Maui County Code, amending chapters 2.96, 2.97, and 3.44, residential workforce housing units. And you all know I've been here a lot, and I'm still not sure what that means. I didn't go to college, but I can read. Maybe if it was in Olelo, Hawaiian, I could understand a little bit better. I have full confidence in Director Mitchell and his limahana. I have very much confidence in Evan Dust, and also Director and Big Brother David Rotz and his team, especially Gene Pokipala. So the closest I can come to in for what I know in Olelo Hawaiian is for Housing and Land Use Committee is Nahale o Aina Kamike. And I don't know what the word is for use. So I will do my diligence and read through I'll try to follow along. I've got stuck with it since I requested it. Now I have to, I don't want to waste paper, so I'm going to read this. And bear with me. And James, thank you over there for keeping the microphone on. Please don't cut me off, even if somebody tells you to, because I'm trying to be relevant here. May 14th, and bear with me here, whoever's got the button on the microphone, was I looked it up on Google. It said it was the first permanent English settlement in what they call Virginia. Jamestown settlers arrived in 1607. They call it the James River, but the indigenous people lived in Virginia for 16,000 years before the colonists arrived, so I'm pretty sure they called it something else before that. If you get a chance to go down there, they've discovered where the fort was recently in the past 10 years. And yeah, that's about it. I guess I got it in. There's an interesting book called The Fifth Crown. It's not a really good, interesting read, but it's a lot of good information in there if you guys want to find out about Jamestown. Aloha, everybody.
Members, any clarifying questions? Seeing none, thank you. I saw Mr. Nakoa is here to testify. Do we have anybody else besides him? Okay. Mr. Nakoa, please start your 3 minutes.
Yes, sir. Okay, small kind of excited for hear this bill finally be talked about after 4 years. Yeah, I've been calling Tasha Kama's office. How long? When this thing will come on the table? I call up the housing department, talk to Remy. When this thing will come up? So I was excited about it. But now, last minute, I heard about the change in the Bill 111, and all the hard work, like you guys heard, everybody put together was fully supported. Now you gotta like change them. Okay, I'm gonna tell you guys right now. Okay, I don't know how old you gotta be for be kupuna. Yeah, but I old. Yeah, I young grandson. I live here all my life. I never buy one house yet. So all of these rules kind of pertain to me. Rental residency will be for this guy. 55 years I live here. Yeah? So now you guys telling me one mainlander can come here after 3 years and get the house before me? Ah, come on. Okay, and then now going back to the process, yeah, bro. How is this one? Okay, usually when you guys do these kind of changes, whoever made the amendment should have been here and before all the public testimony, so we know what the heck we're talking about. Is whoever made these amendments, come and explain what is the amendment. Explain what it's about. Not us guys gotta guess and wonder what the heck you guys thinking inside that office over there. Cause we getting screwed by a process. And Tasha Kama, I don't know why she's not here. And I kind of testify in the beginning for her, the housing, she's not here every time. And this is her committee. Thank you, Ajit, for stepping in. Mahalo. But again, this is a hot item, one of the hottest items, and she's not here. And then why is she the one who make, if she brought to make the amendment? Why is she not here to explain the amendment? So I know what the heck is going on, what I'm going to testify on, what am I supportive, am I against it? Yeah, I heard some good things. I like the kind, try to eliminate the credit. I hate the damn credit. Yeah, I like the deed restriction. Molong the better. Yeah, molong the better. But this is frustrating, Gange. I don't know whose circus is running, who's running this circus, but it's crazy. Us guys. Oh, like I said, I think I've been following you guys, following the county council for a while. But lately, some changes around here is just killing me. It's hard for me to tell people to come testify when I confuse. Yeah? So hard. I do them because I can't do them. But when you get out of the queue, yeah, real fast. But when we're trying to get the community come together and be like this, and no scared come talk, you guys are making it harder. That's all I say. But please, explain to us the amendment before you let us talk about them, because I don't know what to talk about them. Everybody's confused. Okay? So whatever you guys can do to bring them back and have whoever make the amendment come explain why you get the amendment. I don't know. Right now, we lost. We totally lost. But mahalo, you guys. Thank you for the extra time because I'm confused as heck.
Thank you,
Yeah, Bill
Mr.
111 is supposed to help people like, Bill 111 is supposed to help people like me. Live here all my life. I fight hard for the community. Let me go check your one house before somebody 3 years over here live over here. Dang it.
Thank you very
Oh.
much. Thank you. Members, any clarifying questions? Seeing none. Thank you again for your testimony. Do we have Mr. Franco signed up? Do we have anybody else other than him? Okay. Mr. Stan Franco, your 3 minutes will begin shortly once we see your face and hear your voice. Mr. Franco?
Mr. Franco, you are unmuted on our end. If you could find the microphone button on the right corner of your screen at the top.
Let's give him a few seconds, and if not, we can go to Mr. Perez and we can come back to Mr. Franco. Mr. Perez, if you would like to begin your testimony, please do so.
Hi, can you folks hear me?
We can, thank you.
Oh, yeah, I was having trouble raising my hand. I just logged out and logged back in. But anyway, good morning, council members. Appreciate your time. Just finding out about this bill 40, and you know, we've been thinking about this a lot. And I did briefly look at the latest amendment summary form, so I hope that I'm not confusing things, but I just want to say that we appreciate the extension of the length of the deed restrictions. We do not support the reduction in the percentage of moderate income units, and we also don't support the increase in the percentage of above moderate, because people in lower income categories need help the most. We do support the language of Bill 111. We urge the administration to finish completing that priority list. My understanding is that Lahaina Community Land Trust is already managing a similar list, and let's learn from them instead of reinventing the wheel and paying consultants millions of dollars or whatever the plan is. Also, I want to talk about the current practice of letting developers control the list, which Bill 111 would end if it's implemented. I have been in conversations with developers who have good intentions, who told me about the ways that they were able to pick and choose people based on criteria that really were not appropriate, but they're trying to help local people, right? Other developers who take advantage of the current system get hundreds of people to testify in favor of a project in the hope that they might get one of a couple dozen affordable homes. And that's an abuse of the current system because developers are allowed to control the list. Bill 111 would fix that. As far as the revised paragraph 3 in the latest ASF, I think it's questionable legality because you're stating a preference for length of residence. So kind of thin ice. Bill 111 would accomplish the same thing without saying that, because it would open up the list to people who are here now, like high school graduates could get on the list. And then by the time they can afford to purchase one of the affordable homes, they will have, you know, stable income. Hopefully they'll still be here. Newcomers would still have an opportunity to get on the list, but it would be behind everybody who's already on the county list. So that makes a lot of sense to me. And anyway, thank you for removing the part about the, thank you for the revised ASF. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Mr. Perez. Member Paulton, your clarifying question.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you, Mr. Perez. I just wanted to clarify, are you talking about section, shucks, I didn't write down the section, but C1, A, B, and C, where the ownership went from 80 to 100% AMI 30%, 100 to 120% AMI 50%, and then 120 to 140% AMI at 20%. And the proposed change would make the 80 to 100% AMI still get 30% of the affordable, but the 100 to 120% AMI would now only get 40% of the affordable, and the 120 to 140% AMI would get 30% of the affordable. Is that what you are saying in your testimony, that you want it to stay at 30, 50, 20 instead of change to 30, 40, 30?
I think so. So I didn't write down the percentages, but what I did write down is the percentage, because it says a percentage and then it says moderate income, right? So that is going to be going, that percentage is going to go down.
Below moderate,
And then
moderate, and above moderate. Sorry. Those words don't mean anything to me, so I always go to the percentage because that numbers mean more than words, I guess, to me.
I didn't have time to put the percentages in too, but so the moderate was going to be lowered. Percentage is going to be lowered on the moderate.
From 50 to 40%.
Yeah. And the percentage, the above moderate is going to be increased.
From 20 to 30. Okay, and so that you're not for that because the people in the 120 to 140 already, it's easier to build to that. I don't think we even do multifamily to 120 to 140.
In answer to your question, thank you for the question, just generally, people in the lower income categories need help the most and are closer to being homeless. And by the same token, people who are already renting and just can barely buy, we need to be helping those people so that they don't fall into homelessness when the landlords raise the rent.
Thank you. Thank you for that clarification. Sorry, I used numbers instead of words. Numbers make more sense to me.
Okay.
Thank you very much, members. Any other clarifying questions? If not, we will move on to, or move back rather, to Mr. Stan Franco. Thank you very much, Mr. Perez.
Kate Malo.
Mr. Franco, if you can find the microphone button on your Teams and click that, we should be able to hear you.
Mr. Franco? Let's give him a few seconds and then we're going to move on.
Chair, should we proceed with the last call?
Let's do that.
Oh.
Chair, we just had another testifier sign up, Ki'i Kaho'ohanohano.
Sounds good. Aloha.
Aloha mai kako. Good morning. Thank you for having us here this morning for the opportunity to testify. I am in strong opposition to Bill 40. Am I just finding out about all of this just in council work, still in a meeting as I walked in here. So it's that important. That's why I'm here. That's why I'm in council. I have been a part of testifying for the years prior, leading up to the passage of Bill 111, I believe, right? In strong support of that to continue and be implemented, not to just sit there and lie dormant, but to be implemented because we need it desperately. And the last thing we need is for this to be shut down, which it appears, and I'm not totally educated on it, but what I see is that this is deliberately and directly going to counter the work that was done with 111, which would make priority for affordable housing to our long-term residents. So if we care about the people of Hawaii, if we care about our kupuna, we care about the longevity of our ohana being able to remain in Hawaii, which is already ridiculously challenging, and we could go on for more than 3 minutes about why. I don't think I need to explain that. We already have people leaving in droves. We have people leaving because they can't stay. I don't know how I'm gonna pay my rent next month. We all need affordable housing, and we need it now. And this is not helpful. This is harmful. So please stand in integrity today and vote against this. Because I am like, I don't even wanna, why isn't Tasha here? She's sick, I'm so sorry. Okay, well, I wish her all the best, but I also would love to see her face to face and ask her why. Yeah, because I'm sick too. This is sickening. But I'm standing here because it's prompting me to do so because it's so sickening. Yeah? Where is our kupuna gonna go? I already had my papa leave last year. Guess what? My papa's also leaving, my other papa is leaving tomorrow to go to Oahu because he can't afford to stay here either. When are we gonna take care of our people? Yeah? People are houseless from the fires. That's just accentuated a situation that was already horrific. When we started fighting for 111, it was before that. Because we were already in dire straits. Please do the right thing. Please stand in integrity today, and please shut this down. Otherwise, we're gonna just have to keep going and keep going anyways. We need to house our people, and affordably. I don't know all the solutions in 3 minutes right now, but all I know is I had to come today and in person, because this is not okay. I can't sleep last night. I only saw it last night. And I don't know, God bless you, Tasha, but how dare you? I don't know if you have
Any clarifying questions? Seeing none. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Sorry, I missed that.
That's okay. Do we have any testifiers? Any other testifiers?
Chair, the only person left would be Stan Franco if he's able to unmute.
Okay. Okay, if he's not able to unmute, please do the last call.
This is the last call for oral testimony. Please raise your hand on Teams if you would like to testify. The countdown is 3, 2, 1. Seeing none, Chair, no one has indicated they wish to testify.
Thank you. Members, seeing there are no other individuals wishing to testify without objection, I would now close oral testimony.
No objections.
Thank you. As a reminder, written testimony, so Mr. Franco, if you can hear me, written testimony will continue to be accepted onto the record. Okay, couple things, Genki. One, Member Johnson is not here, which I didn't know he wasn't going to be here this morning, and majority of the conversation stemmed around Bill 11 that we heard this morning. Neither is Member Kama here, Chair Kama, for this committee. So if it's okay, I would like to recess this meeting after taking testimony. We do need to do deliberation though, but I just wanted to let you know that this is my intention. I do have a question before we recess this meeting, considering all the testimony we heard, but I just wanted to state my intention from the get-go. We can discuss when the recess meeting will come later, but Member Paulton, if you would like to have some discussion, that'd be great.
Thank you, Chair. Couple of things.
Oh, hold on. Apparently I need to formally close public testimony. Even though we said no objections, right? Yeah, thanks. Okay, for the record, we closed it.
Okay. I had a couple of things I wanted to mention, if that's all right. I kind of looked through the bill and I had some proposals for amendments, which I would like to get onto the record. So there's like transparency or whatever. But the other thing, in light of the confusion of the testifiers, I really feel that adjourning would be more appropriate because people were testifying against Bill 40, and then, we all and the public got notified about an amendment summary form that I think took out what people were most upset, passionate, and emotional about. And for me, when I see something like that stops me, I can't look at the rest of everything else. Like, in the budget, if the position IDs, I ended at environmental management because I'm like, I can't go on. This is just too crazy, So if we could adjourn and then give people the opportunity to read the amendment summary form, which hopefully makes an effort to take out what people found most egregious. But in that spirit of transparency, I also would like to just briefly go over things that stood out to me that I would propose to amend maybe in the next opportunity that this is heard.
Sounds good.
And then the other thing, I would love to hear if our housing director had any comments, but I can go first.
Okay, let's do that. You go first, and then we'll hear from Director Mitchell, and then I do have a question, which I wasn't planning on having this discussion with my question, but I think it's necessary today. But please continue, Member Paulton.
Okay, thank you. So in my rough non-lawyer layperson review of the bill, I would like to thank the staff for the comprehensive nature of it. It's apparent that a lot of work had been done while the budget was also going on. So thank you for hard work.
Yep.
I agreed with Mr. Perez on keeping the ownership affordability structure at 30, 50, 20 instead of the proposed 30, 40, 30.
Okay.
Shoot, maybe I should.
That's section 2C.
Yeah,
A.
I'm gonna pull it up because I didn't write it in my notes.
Okay.
Sorry.
That's okay. I have it right in front of me.
Yeah, 2.96.040 C1 A, B, and C.
Okay.
For the ownership.
Okay.
And then I guess one question I had on C2A,
Cap C2A.
where it says 1/3 of the rental units shall be, or 1/3 of the rental units for very low income and low income residents. I'm not sure if that means 1/6 would be for 50% and below, and 1/6 would be 50 to 80%.
Okay.
Or if it's like, how do you say that 1/3 of the rental units for these two categories? Is it an equal distribution, or is it just straight 80% and below?
Okay.
So that's a question I had.
Okay. You want them to clarify how they're going to break down the 1/3 between very low and low income?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then in 2.96.050
Okay.
B, my concern was mostly for West Maui, that West Maui really needs housing after we lost so much.
Yes.
And so any credits for West Maui, the affordable housing needs to be built in West Maui. I'm not sure if other community plan areas feel the same, but I do believe it would be inappropriate to build affordable housing in Kihei, Central, or Wailuku, and then build the luxury homes in West Maui, because we do have a lot of jobs in West Maui, and the highway in and out is a big problem. I'm okay with the amendment about the same income group for D that was suggested by Maui Nui Resiliency Hui. I don't really understand it, but I'm okay with it.
Wait, hold on. Are you looking at the one that they gave us, or that Maui Nui Hui Resiliency gave us, or are you looking at Bill 40 CD1?
I was looking at Bill 40 CD1 and referencing their proposed amendment. I'm okay with it. I just would like more clarification at the time because I didn't really understand it.
Okay.
Then in 2.96.060
Okay.
B4C, sorry.
B4C?
Or B4C, sorry. It's hard with all the brackets and lines.
Oh, okay. Now I see.
B4C. I am in support of the deed restriction period restarting.
Okay.
And then deed restriction period B4F. I'm okay what it says, but I think in front of what it says, we should also put the county having the first option to purchase in the event of a foreclosure. And then if we don't take advantage of that option, then continue on with what B4F says.
Okay, you want county first right of refusal?
Correct.
Okay.
And then when we go down to C, in that same section, I think it needs to be clarified because it says current affordable rent guidelines for a family of 4 at 100% of the area median income. I think we should just follow the HUD table, like bedrooms and family size, because not everyone's like, it depends on what is being rented. It might be for 2 people, it might be for a 5-bedroom. So I just choosing for family of 4, 100%. I don't know. I think that needs to be just tweaked a little. I'm not sure what the answer is on that. Sorry.
No, that's okay. We can keep that up for discussion.
And I'm in support of the language of Bill 111, obviously. And then there were just some minor things. I prefer adding, the AMIs together with the words because those, and I think that was suggested by Maui Nui Resiliency Hui as well.
Yep.
I didn't understand section 7, 2.97.090, so if that could be clarified at some point. And then there was a portion in there that talked about single family or 2-family. I would just call that duplex.
Okay. Yep.
Instead, yeah.
Okay.
I think it's B, sorry, 2.96.060B, multifamily or duplex ownership units. And sorry to jump around a little bit, but
that's okay.
In the beginning part, when we talk about the income distribution, I don't know if we need to separate single family versus multifamily and duplex, because when Linda Munsell was the Deputy Director of Housing and Human Concerns, she was saying like multifamily units in the 120 to 140 or something don't often get sold because it's so close to market rate, and the dream is the single family home. So I don't know if we need to separate that out in the income group distribution, single family homes versus duplexes or multifamily homes and have different income group distribution, because if we're gonna have multifamily in the 120 to 140% AMI, we can just assume they're gonna flip out of affordability, and so what are we doing?
Okay.
And so that's that was my review. I could try and, whenever this is scheduled again, make a formal ASF, but that was just my notes that I took last night while reviewing the bill.
Okay.
As a lay person, lay council person.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Can I give some of my suggestions just for this bill, and then we can hear from you, and then we can go on to my other question that I have. Since Member Paulton shared hers, I'll do that for mine too, so we can have that discussion for transparency. But on page 3, which would be section 3, letter G, I would like to remove that the housing credits will sunset in 2050. I know it's going to be a discussion, so I just want to put that out there. I feel like until we're completely saturated with affordable housing, I would like to ensure that we get affordable housing where we can. On page 5, let me see what section this is. I apologize. Section 4, C, where it discusses basically the paragraph of life happens. I would like to see that our director has some flexibility other than these 3 specific issues, 1 being military, 2 being medical, and 3 being, oh, well, I guess it's 4, and domestic violence and temporary employed outside of the county. I don't know what temporarily is defined as. And I would like to also just have the flexibility of life happens. Let's say divorce, extreme medical bills, which I know is required, but that says the owner. What if the owner's child had extreme medical bills? I would like to just give you a little bit of flexibility there, and the county some flexibility. I know that it says on my notes that I took a month or so ago, says something about verifying the prices and some other things, but now I gotta go kind of figure out what I meant by that, because I planned on being a participant in this meeting, not necessarily the chair. But that's all I have for the most part. Oh, yes, Member Paulton, did you have something else?
Shoot, something that you had said reminded me on the life happens portion.
Yes.
I did see something in there where, like, you know, about the 3 years that they I think it was Section 6, 2.96.090B5 maybe, where they must not have owned the home within 3 years. Yes. Unless it was they're selling an affordable unit to move into a more right-sized affordable unit. Yes. For me, it's not so important that they were in an affordable unit to begin with.
Agreed.
Whatever size house you are in, if you need to, whatever category house you are in, if it's affordable, market rate, family home, whatever, and you want to qualify for a bigger affordable price, I guess, to me, I'm okay with that if it's like, you know, verified you had twins, or you got to take in your mother-in-law or do family home care kind of stuff. I think the qualification from going from one unit to a larger affordable unit is that you kind of pay it forward. You get to buy this bigger affordable unit at an affordable price, but you're opening up your old unit at an affordable price kind of thing.
Okay.
But logistics, just,
that's right.
We got to talk it through. Sorry, that was when you said life happens.
Yes, I actually have that in my notes, and I skipped over that because it's a little bit
yeah,
scribble scrabble.
But I like that we're going in that direction of life happening. And like, I know plenty people that are in a house that can't qualify for the next size up house because they have a house. next size up affordable house.
Right. Well, and to your point about life happens, right now my husband and I own a house. If we so happen to divorce and he has to move out, that's right. He might need to buy an affordable home, right, to raise our children. And if this,
Well, you're not
like,
taking the kids.
well, we got to split custody. Yeah, my kid is 7 in this hypothetical discussion because he's not going anywhere. But for other people's issue, he would obviously, I would want my children to have another place to call home. Hypothetical. My husband watches this, so I'm probably going to have a conversation. We're not getting divorced. You're not going anywhere. But I'm sure that must happen to others, is my point. I can use myself as an example.
Like we can, I think we've never had this type of conversation before to prepare for those inevitabilities that happen to a lot of people and not precluding folks from the opportunity for these life happening incidents. But I think Charlie really wants to say something.
That was actually a really big issue in my former job when we did affordable housing. Charlie?
I'm sorry to interrupt your conversation, but where are we going with this meeting?
This meeting right now, for transparency's sake, because we heard so much from today that people felt like they were sprung on with all of the changes in Bill 40, because it's a really big conversation that's been going on for months, and we restarted it from scratch, that we're discussing our proposed changes. My request is that we take a recess or adjourn. We're gonna probably take a recess to discuss which option is best for us. But right now, we're just talking about potential amendments for transparency's sake.
Okay, but I was thinking that you want to be transparent, but we're going to ultimately adjourn this meeting. So perhaps that conversation can wait till the next meeting when everybody's up to speed, including the public, on what is really on the table for discussion. Yeah?
Yeah, all of that it's a big discussion for sure. Yeah.
So I'm just suggesting, rather than take a recess, why don't you just adjourn?
My point was we might take a recess to discuss that. It's not my committee, obviously, so we would need to discuss with committee staff when the next time they're gonna have this conversation. Because before we started this conversation, when I found out I was gonna be chair at 6:45 this morning, we just discussed a recess. So I can happily do whatever is best for everyone, but we're just gonna have a quick discussion after a brief recess to figure out what's the best plan moving forward. I'm cool to do whatever. But, okay, now the big one, which, Remy's gonna have his, please share your thoughts.
Thank you, Chair. I don't think my comments are the big one, because when I look at proposed legislation, I am looking at it now that I'm on the executive side from an administrative perspective, and I'm trying to avoid unnecessarily weighing into the policy debates. And in this instance, in light of the testimony and in light of members who are not present, in light of the comments about proposed suggestions, this is still in flux. There are a lot of policy issues that need to be resolved, and I am admittedly cautious about unnecessarily weighing in until the body is relatively clear on the direction it would like to take. But having said that, I will give some very initial thoughts, and I'll have to concede that I've not had a chance to really think through Member Paulton's suggestions. I've not had a chance to think through the chair's suggestions, much less the testifying suggestions. So please take this with a grain of salt. I'm going to rattle through this pretty quickly. As I look at Section 2, Section 2.96040, I too, along with what I heard from a testifier, feel concerns when we decrease the percentage of ownership units for the moderate income residents and increase the percentage of ownership units for above moderate residents. When we issued our affordable housing RFP, we intentionally focused on thank you, Chair Cook, I'll get closer to the mic, we intentionally focused on the more at-risk residents, the lower income brackets. Because as one of our testifiers said, they're closest to being homeless. And that was our focus, trying to get to the at-risk residents first. And so I think that section of the proposal needs to be considered. With respect to, again, section 3, 2.96, B, the reference to the credit may be used in any community plan area. I too feel that we need to be cautious about allowing the credits to be used in any plan area. Theoretically and conceptually, it's preferable that they're used in the area where they were generated for obvious reasons. But there's another issue here, and in my opinion, that issue is if we're going to deeply subsidize projects and then allow them to get credits, you're both deeply subsidizing them and then not having them build affordable housing units. And I think you need to think through that. So if you give large subsidies and then they go ahead and buy credits to avoid having to build units, what is that doing? And I just flagged that for you. As I think about, and then in G, I too had concerns about the suggestion that the system for housing credits be ended. While it's way out in the future, there were concerns about what it does to the marketplace. There'll be suddenly individuals who have credits that are going to be incredibly valuable, and you're going to skew the market. So the question is, are there other ways to address the problem, such as the one I just suggested? As I've said quite a bit, I believe in long deed restrictions. To use Member Paulton's imagery, there's no sense in developing a bucket for housing and then having short deed restriction periods where the bucket has holes. We will never get ahead of the problem. So you're going to have to plug the holes and make the bucket larger, to stick with the imagery. I also agree with the comments, again, relating to section 4, 2.96, 060, section 5, about restarting the affordability period. It doesn't really make sense to me, as I've indicated in a variety of meetings, that we have short deed restriction periods and then they cycle out. You will never be able to keep up. So I just urge the body to think about that. With respect to that same section on page 5, the section I think you all have been affectionately referring to as the Life Happens section. I only pause because while providing greater flexibility for directors is sometimes helpful, it creates a bit of a challenge. And here the challenge I see is, how will the director, not just me, any director, discern and appropriately get information or not about what medical needs are? And what do I do with that information? How do I determine, or who do I determine with, like a third-party provider, whether someone is going through a domestic violence experience and needs to move? I don't know if I necessarily want to make that determination without professional support, right? So there's language here that causes me to pause. Let me continue. Then in the ASF, second page, where we talk about residency periods, there is no discussion on exceptions to the residency period. So you could have individuals who go off to college, not just military service, or for professional reasons, they leave the island legitimately to engage in their professional endeavor somewhere else. What exceptions are included in this length of residency that need to be included and considered? Or are we going to give the director discretion to evaluate those exceptions? So there's a lot of moving parts here that I would be considering from an administrative perspective. And there's some policy issues that, you know, I could weigh in on and try to avoid because I'm not on the policy side now. But those are my initial thoughts, and I look forward to seeing all the ASFs and having an appropriate amount of time to review them and discuss them with my team, Deputy Director Samal Afa. He and I are the proverbial team right now on these. So I look forward to this being re-agendized. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. It'll definitely have to be re-agendized because it is a lot of information and a lot of moving parts. And I know that we kind of had a quick discussion about this with Ms. Nakata before we started this meeting, but because of the testimony heard today and in order to prevent less confusion and more transparency, to discuss the section, and which is why it's important for Member Johnson to be here, Section 6 in 2.96090, as it relates to basically Bill 111. Can I bring it up or can we not bring it up? Ms. Nakata.
Yes, thank you, Chair. What I understand the question to be is the effectiveness of Bill 111, which was enacted as Ordinance 5315. Staff would note that although that ordinance was enacted and made effective December 17, 2021, there is a Section 5 in Ordinance 5315 that reads as follows. The Department of Housing and Human Concerns must adopt guidelines for the implementation of Sections 2.96.090 and 2.96.100 Maui County Code no later than November 1, 2022, subject to council approval by resolution. This ordinance takes effect upon council approval of the guidelines by resolution. So for this body's information, the council did never receive the guidelines that were required in order for them to consider adopting a resolution to approve the guidelines. And because of that, Ordinance 5315 was never made effective. So I know there was a lot of discussion about the body ignoring the language set forth in that ordinance, but that ordinance never went into effect. So Bill 40 was based on the county code as it exists right now. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Ms. Nakata. Director Mitchell, did you have something you wanted to add?
Thank you, Chair. And while this thought isn't a direct continuation of Council Nakata's observation, and this bill that we're considering is an omnibus bill, I point out for the public and the body that this discussion started around deed restrictions. Our goal was to get to some place where we had agreement on either long or short and medium, and my preference would be long deed restrictions. What we have here is a series of different policy issues we're all trying to manage at once. And if I were tactically trying to address this bill, I would separate some of them so we could get through them. The housing credit one is a challenge, and it might deserve its own bill relative to the other issues. Thank you, Chair.
Okay. Sprinkle in that one at the end.
Did he say separate housing credits and separate the eligibility portion, the Bill 111 part.
Would you like to clarify?
Thank you, Chair.
Oh.
I think
Oh, wait, hold on. If you leave, okay, yeah. Go. Thank you, sorry.
Thank you, Chair, and thank you, Member Paulton. I'm just suggesting to manage the discussion, the housing credits topic shouldn't be lost, but it might deserve its own bill, and then the other issues in a bill, so that you can reduce the number of challenging policy issues that you're trying to debate all at once. Thank
Let's
you, Chair.
take smaller bites out of the bill instead of trying to choke on all of this at once. Okay. Noted.
Thank you.
Of course. Member Sugimura.
I really appreciate this discussion. And so one of the correspondence that you sent over, you did send your admin rules, which I really appreciate that. So at some time, are you going to then share or amend, I guess, the admin rules? And I know it's administration side, but I'm curious to see how you're going to put this all together, because that part is also important to the implementation of this bill.
Thank you, Chair, and thank you, Council Vice Chair Sugimura. Absolutely.
Thank you.
There are a number of things we are looking at to revise, and our admin rules are in that category. And when we get to some place where this proposed legislation is clear, then we'll take a look at that. Thank you.
Okay, yeah, because it looks like it was done a few years ago, right? So it probably needs to be. Thank you. Appreciate that too.
Of course. Thank you, Member Sugimura. Does anybody else have anything they would like to say before I take a brief recess so we can figure out how we're going to end this meeting and move forward? Anything else? No. Okay, we're going to do a 10-minute recess to come back at 10:58. Welcome back, everyone, to the HLU Committee. It is now 11:01 a.m. During the recess, we have discussed the future of this bill and in this committee. So at this time, we are going to adjourn and we're going to continue discussing this omnibus of a bill. Does anybody else have anything else to say before I adjourn this meeting? Member Paulton.
Great job pinch hitting, Chair, Vice Chair, Chair. Thank you.
Thank you. I appreciate it. And thank you so much for everybody's discussion today and for our staff too going with the flow. Thank you so much. Well, then it is 11:01 a.m. and this meeting is adjourned. you.